Higher education has been a top priority of our administration from day one. In fact, all education from K through 20. We've invested a record $7 billion in Maryland's colleges and universities and community colleges, $25 billion in K through 12 education. Both of them are the most ever invested in the history of the state.
Meanwhile, Governor Hogan has officially signed a school funding bill into law, allowing more than $28 million in additional funding for schools in Baltimore City and 10 other counties across the state.
Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is announcing $19 million in education funding.
Hogan has been very outspoken this week on school safety.
I introduced one of the most aggressive school safety plans in America. $125 million immediately into making our schools safer. $50 million a year more for school resource officers and mental health counselors.
We are signing landmark school safety legislation.
Initiatives to improve school safety. It's the first bill the governor signed following the conclusion of the 2018 Maryland General Assembly session. It requires public schools to have either a resource officer or plans in place for an adequate law enforcement coverage by the upcoming school year.
This was all proposed by the governor here in Maryland, Larry Hogan.
Think about the school funding as this big piggy bank. Each year, there's a formula deciding how much cash the school needs to put in it.
His bill will pump $4.4 billion into K-12 education over 10 years. The measure has the backing of State Controller Peter Franchot. He did declare his proposal would not require any tax increases.
And I'm very excited to be a part of the announcement that Maryland's first two P-TECH schools will be right here in Baltimore City for the 2016.
Carver and Dunbar high schools are the first schools in the state to offer this 6-year program. IBM created the initiative back in 2011. Since then, the tech powerhouse partnered with Johns Hopkins and state and city leaders to make this happen here.
Now, the program is called P-TECH. The idea is to help young people be successful and to build a strong and capable workforce.
We'll also continue our fight for accountability in our local education systems. Parents, students, and teachers are rightfully outraged that our children are being cheated. The NAACP and frustrated teachers and parents have repeatedly called for change and for action when it comes to the school leadership or lack of leadership.
The real issue is lack of accountability and mismanagement of the money that we are providing for the schools. And in many cases, it is not getting down to the classrooms.
And it cannot and will not be tolerated by our administration. So we will introduce the Accountability in Education Act of 2018, which will create an office of the State Education Investigator General.
Today, we are learning Governor Larry Hogan has had enough of what has happened. The Maryland governor says he wants to create a special unit within the state education department that will investigate complaints of wrongdoing.
The status quo simply is not good enough for Maryland's children.